welcome back to the She Drives podcast. It's just Tyree today because, well, Kira's not with us, but she does send her apologies. She'll be here for the next one. But thankfully, I'm not alone today. It's not just going to be me talking a whole pile of nonsense because we've got Lee Maxwell on the podcast. Hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm excited for this. Are you excited?
Of course.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. So I thought since we're on the run up to Dubshed Week, and you're obviously a big part of GTINI, there's no one really better to get on the podcast. So first of all, just kind of tell me a bit about yourself and how you got into cars.
Okay. So I'm Lee. Hello. Cars. From I was little, I had a kind of passing interest in cars. I liked them. My dad was sort of into cars, but my mum and dad were more into motorbikes. So I was a biker kid, and passed my test when I was 16. Got the bike. Started off on a scooter, then the bike. But once I was turning 17, it was like, right, time to drive a car. That was what I was excited about. So my first car was a Nova, which was awesome.
Very nice.
It wasn't really very cool. It used to belong to my great aunt. It was a 4-door. I don't think the back seats had ever been sat in when my dad acquired it, but I thought it was class. Mm-hmm. And I had my little Kenwood head unit, and my little carbon fibre gear knob, and I thought I was absolutely the bee's knees.
Oh yes, of course. You always do whenever you first pass your test, don't you?
Yeah.
Like, no matter what car you're in, you're like, I am amazing right now.
And it was funny, I passed my test in 2005, so I know you're a good bit younger than me. But at that time, going to school, everyone in my year at school was passing their tests and having cars and stuff. And I thought the Nova was class. But even then, and the Nova was it was a 92 car. So in 2005, but people like at school laughed at me. Like, even the teachers were like, that old Nova, because they had sort of Mark 5s and Polos and, sort of Mark 4 or 5 Fiestas, whatever they are at that stage, were the popular cars. And there was me and my Nova, but Nova was awesome. So that was it. I didn't do much really with modifying other than a set of wheels, as I said, the head unit and stuff. And I didn't really properly get into cars, if you like, for another couple of years after that, because I was at uni and blah, blah, blah. I bought in 2007 or 8, I bought a Suzuki Swift Sport, which was like my first kind of sporty car, and started taking it to a few meets and stuff. I was at one of the very early iterations of the Jap show up at Junction 1. Me and a friend of mine from school, he had a Mitsubishi Colt, and all the other cars at the Jap show were like big body or like drift type cars, and it was just me and him and our little shitty hatchbacks. Like, hi guys, can we play? But through that car and joining the RMS forum was how I started to meet other people who were into cars. My ex-boyfriend's cousin was a friend of mine. We used to knock around together, and we used to go to the kind of Sunday night cruises in Portadown and Bangor, and that was how I met everybody. That's how I met my current partner, was through RMS and some of those Sunday night car park meets. And that's when I really got into specifically Volkswagens, because that was kind of his thing. And a lot of the friends, the group that I joined of his friends, that Volkswagens were having their day. They were the Euro scene, and particularly the Volkswagen scene was all the shows and everything. They were huge, and it was the fashion at the time, I suppose. So yeah.
I kind of feel like Volkswagen, they've never really gone out of style.
No.
I mean, I have a Mark 6 Golf myself, and I've just always had it in my head that I wanted a Mark 6.
Yeah.
Like, even though whenever I went to go and test drive it, I was like, I actually really don't like this. But because I had it in my head that I wanted the car, I was like, I'm just gonna put up with it.
You
and now
have to
I've
have
had
it,
it
yeah.
for nearly 5 years, and I don't plan on getting rid of it anytime soon.
Good. You grew to love it then.
Yeah, exactly. So how did you get involved with GTINI?
So we always sort of half knew the boys from GTA and I from knocking around the shows and stuff. We really properly got to know Nigel and Gethin from buying parts off them. Um, Nigel used to be like the Mark II and III breaker guy. Like he just had not hundreds, but just loads of Mark IIs and IIIs for breaking all the time. So he was the go-to guy for that type of car. And Gethin was Mr. Mark III back then as well. So my partner Connor, he had arranged to meet up with Gethin to buy something for a Mark IV, I think it was at the time, off him. And Gethin mentioned to us, oh, we're going down to the Cork show. He's going. And we sort of said, we don't really know anything about it. And he invited us along, and we said, oh, we don't want to crash your guys' weekend away or whatever. And they were like, no, come on ahead. So we went down to Cork with them. We'd been to Dubshed a couple of years at that stage as spectators, and we'd had our cars in it, but we didn't really know them that well. And that weekend away down to the Vaggie show in Cork was how we got to know them. And the following, that would have been sort of July, August time. And the following March, April, we got suckered into helping out at Dubshed.
And the rest is history.
The rest is history, as they say.
So would you say that would Volkswagen be your favourite German car?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
And I see I did a wee bit of snooping. You've just bought a Mark IV R32, haven't you?
Yes, about less than a month ago, like 3 weeks ago. I'm so excited. Like, it sounds so stupid to say that a stupid Mark IV is my dream car, but like it really is.
No
Every time I
judgment.
drive it, I'm like smiling and laughing because it's so fun.
So what, obviously if you've just bought that, what other car? Do you have another car as well, or is that just it?
Yes, quite a few.
Give me the list.
Well, currently working on the road, it's only the R32 and my daily Skoda Superb, which is very boring. But I also have my kind of main show car, I guess, if you like, the last few years has been a Mark I Jetta. So it has an engine conversion. It's on twin Weber 45s. It's got Porsche D90s on it. It's a little pocket rocket. It's good fun. Before that, I had a B3 Passat for a while. My main sort of show car before that was a Vento, which I had 6-slug Mitsubishi wheels on. It was like a kind of matte grey. You're far too young to remember it. But it was at Dubshed in like 2012. That's how long ago we're talking.
Yeah, I wasn't at Dubshed in 2012.
I still have the Vento. The B3 sadly went to the big scrapyard in the sky.
Oh.
I also have a VR6 Corrado, which I bought as a breaker. My plan was to take the engine from the Corrado and put into the Vento, but then I decided that I actually really liked the Corrado, and it was purple, and I was like, oh no, I can't break this car, it's too nice. And it has been sitting at my house ever since and has not seen the road, but it's on the project list. I have my dad's old Nova, which again is on the project list.
That's an impressive list.
Connor, I think he has 6 or 7 cars now at this stage as well, so.
Do you have a big enough garage to keep them all?
Not all of them. Some of them are unfortunately outside, but yeah, we are fortunate that we have space at least to keep them.
Yeah, well, that's true. So, obviously, we're recording this, but Dubshed is next week.
Yes.
Where does the preparation start for something like that? I mean, it's the biggest car show on the entire island.
Yeah. It kind of starts as soon as the last year finishes. Not massively, but there are a few bits and pieces that go on behind the scenes of booking the venue for next year and all this sort of stuff. I thankfully don't really get involved in that. The main organisers is Gethin, Nigel and Colin. We come along normally before Christmas, maybe September, October time, we would have our first meeting. And we would talk about what happened last year, any changes that we want to make, or if there's been any changes to the site or any new ideas that we've thought of, or and that's when we start making the plans. Then we release the entry system normally around Christmas, like the week between Christmas and New Year kind of thing is when the entries kind of start. And that's when it all starts to ramp up, and that's when we start to get all the emails and the messages and the questions and the then normally the end of February entries close. Indoor entries this year it's slightly different, and we have our selection day, so we all basically go to like a conference room normally in a hotel somewhere for a full day Saturday, and we sit and have the car on the projector and look at all the cars and pick what's coming in. I think we had nearly 900 entries this year, so it's
That's
quite
a
a
lot.
full-on day.
Yeah.
Then the emails and stuff go out. This year, we have the indoor entries have closed, but we're now also taking entries for outdoors this year. So normally every other year at Dubshed, if you had a VAG or German car, you were allowed to turn up on the day for outdoor showing. But this year it's by application and by approval only. So that's another new kind of thing that we're dealing with this year. Of we now have outdoor selection as well. So that's been ongoing the last few weeks.
So what? Obviously, you've got the at Dubshed. You have kind of the Japanese shed, and you've got like the VAG shed. What would you
Yeah.
get more entries for?
Hard to say. Probably now the non-German. So we every year kind of changes whether we do VAG only in the Eikon Hall or kind of German. Sometimes we'd have the BMWs and stuff in that hall as well. But other years the BMWs are in the non-VAG hall. So it's kind of VAG and everything else. And even we call it amongst ourselves the Jap hall, but it's not just Jap, there's French and etc.
There's everything else.
Everything else. American, we quite a few like American trucks and stuff, which I think they're class.
Yeah, they're cool. So what do you take into consideration whenever you're picking cars to go indoors? Because obviously I'd assume that would be a really difficult process.
Yeah, it is. It's hard even from the point of view of trying to look at cars on a screen. You know yourself, you're not seeing the actual car in the metal. So you're trying to judge, trying to look and see how good is this car or whatever, or what's done to it or blah, blah, blah. From sometimes some decent pictures, sometimes some snapshot screenshots in the dark, which makes it very difficult.
Might do that on purpose so you can't actually see the car.
So we're trying to look for a bit of everything. We can't have 100 Golfs on air because that would be boring. Why? No one would want to come and see that. So there might be 100 really nice Golfs on air, but we can't have them all. So we have to kind of pick the best. We're trying to get a variety of old and new and different styles and different makes and models and a little bit of concourse stuff. So we have some, pretty standard cars, but like there's a Beetle that has been there the past couple of years, which is like pretty much standard how it came out of the factory in the 60s, but it's immaculate, like concourse level type cars.
I do like a Beetle.
Yeah,
There's
right
something
down
about
to
Beetles.
hmm.
There's just something about the old style Beetles. I just love them.
Oh, they're iconic, like.
Mhm.
And then it's like modifications, and again, different styles, different tastes. We're trying to have cars that are out and out show cars that have everything done. So wheels and suspension and interior and paint and add-ons, body kits, whatever that is. are they done to a good standard? Obviously, hopefully you can tell.
Hmm.
The best thing that really helps us is if people take good photos and send them in, and a good spec list, because I'm not an expert, and none of us are in the crew, on all types of cars. So if you're not an expert on, Volkswagen Polos or Lexus IS200s, you're not going to necessarily notice that that little piece in the grille is a really rare option that's really special, but we don't always know that unless you tell us.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. I actually never really thought about it like that. In Dubshed, you've got your stands and everything as well. Do you pick those, or do businesses kind of come to you and say, "Oh, we would like a stand"?
Yeah, that's pretty much how it works. Obviously, we try to keep it car related, but we have had other bits and pieces over the years. Jay's barber was there last year with like the Ulster bus doing the
I remember
haircuts for
seeing that.
charity.
That was pretty cool, having just a bus
Yeah.
in the middle of the Icon Centre. We've got the drift taxi as well.
Yes, they're coming again this year. It was brilliant last year.
I I haven't been in the drift taxi, but even just watching it, it looks so incredibly fun.
Yeah.
It looks so cool. Um, but apart from, instead of kind of me summing up Dubshed, what can we expect to see this year coming from you, who's actually a part of it?
Um, we have the drift taxi again this year. We always like to have some element of some kind of live action motorsport. In the past, we've had rallycross, and we had outdoor drifting at one year, and auto testing and stuff. One year we had drag racing. So this year it's the drift taxi again. Indoors will be, hopefully, because sometimes you never know until they all turn up. But we think we've selected some really good show cars. There'll obviously be all the trade stands. I think we have slightly more trade stands this year than last. And you know yourself, like, if were you there last year?
Yeah, I was there last year, yeah.
Like, Drift Games stand was incredible, as
Oh,
quite
yeah.
a few of the other ones were as well. Our main sponsor this year is Storm Competitions, who do the kind of raffle cars and stuff. So they're going to have a stand. They're going to be bringing some of their cars down too. Obviously food and all the usual type of stuff. We'll have the outdoor cars, which will be again selected. I'm trying to think. Yeah, it'll be a good
There's,
show, is what I'm
yep,
trying to say.
something for everyone.
The trophies, each year we have a different trophy. Um, so for the top 40 and the best of show and stuff. Um, I'm not going to give away what it is, but I have seen them. Connor and I were involved in designing them this year, and I think they're pretty cool. I think people are going to like them.
Ooh, I'm excited for that now. What have you, what would you say, I feel like this is going to be a really difficult question to answer, but what would you say has been your overall favourite car you've seen in Dubshed over the years?
Ooh, that is a really hard question. Mm.
I've really put you
There's
on the
been
spot with this
so
one.
many. There was, he's a friend of ours, so that I'm probably slightly biased here. But good few years ago now, he probably won't like me saying that. Our friend Paul Glennon used to have a red Mark III Golf on OZ Pegasus, and I just love that car so much. But last year, and some of or 2 years ago, that was the little kind of Bedford van. It was like kind of rat look. I love the American trucks, so again, another fellow we know has a GMC pickup truck with big air tanks and stuff on it, which is awesome to see. It's kind of like patina, so I liked it. When I get off this call with you, I will literally think, oh, I should have said that, and I should have said
Yep,
that, and there's 10 other cars that I really liked.
that's always the way it goes. Is there any Volkswagen car that you don't like?
Mark V Golf Plus, I think, is possibly the
Oh
most
yeah,
pointless car ever made.
I think I'd have to agree with you on that. I was so scared you were going to say a Mark 6 there. I heard the Mark and I was like, oh no. But there's not just Dubshed. I mean, you do quite a few events during the year. You've got EuroTreffen
Yes,
as well, and Titanic Dubs.
yes. So EuroTreffen is kind of our Castlewellan replacement. And again, you're probably too young to remember the Castlewellan show, but that was like the original GTINI show up in Castlewellan Forest Park. And it was always the first week of July, kind of the first week of the school holidays. And so when we lost Castlewellan, EuroTreffen became the replacement. So it's held up just outside of Larne at the Blue Circle Sailing Club. And it's brilliant. Have you been at it?
No, I've not been at it, but I do plan on being there this year.
So the thing I love about it, it really has Castlewellan vibes, by which I mean kind of, it's not in a forest, but there are trees around. It's kind of out in the country. It's chilled. It's not the stress of Dubshed because you're not trying to park hundreds of cars and stuff. And everybody's there just for a kind of nice day out, and hopefully the weather's nice, and chill out and eat a burger and hang out with people. Have you seen the layout of it we do with the parking the cars in the circles?
Yes, I've seen
That's
that.
fun.
That looks so cool.
The year we came up with that, and Gethin, who was working for John Deere at the time, used their plotting software to draw out the circles, and then he cut them out with a lawnmower on a string.
Love this insider information.
And it's the thing about EuroTreffen is there's no, which is it's a good thing and a bad thing. It because of where it is, because it's kind of out, not quite in the arsehole of nowhere, but as near as damn it, and it's only car people who are there. There's no general public, so if you're there for the car show, which is great for us, and it's great for enthusiasts to be with other enthusiasts. But Castlewellan, although it was absolutely brilliant, you did always have issues of it was a public space, so you always had people coming through on bikes and people going to the campsite and all this kind of thing. So EuroTreffen is a lot easier in that regard.
Yeah. Would you ever get many complaints about that?
Towards the end at Castlewellan we did, but I don't think, I hope, and I do think none of the complaints were really particularly about us or any of the people who were there for the show, but it was people in the campsite kind of messing about and stuff and complaining.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of a shame, but
Well, at least you've got one up in Larne now.
yeah.
Have you got a date for it yet?
I don't know it off the top of my head, but I think I'll be right in saying it'll be the first Saturday in July. That's pretty much the date every year.
Okay. And Titanic Dubs as well. That's kind of like the end of year kind of car show, isn't it?
Closer, yeah.
Yeah, the closer, yeah.
It is for us. I think there are one or two maybe after it over on the mainland and stuff. And actually, Legendary show is normally, if we're on the Saturday, the end of September, they're normally on the Sunday. Titanic is great. It's my favourite out of them all.
Really?
Yeah, I just
I would
love
have
it.
just so I suppose all of you in GTINI you have your favourite car shows.
Mm.
I never thought of that. I just kind of thought like Dubshed was always going to be like the top one.
Dubshed is amazing for the quality of show cars and stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, we get some quality cars coming to the other shows as well, but it's the big, I would describe it as the kind of the scene show. It's the scene one. The others are more chill, more relaxed. Titanic, it's the venue that does it for me, and we've had it there for 12 years maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And I still am amazed by the venue because I just think this is so cool that this site is where all this history happened, and we're here with cars. So it's like two of my favorite things, like history and cars combined. It's like I love it.
Love that. And I suppose you don't have a date for that yet either.
Again, I would take an educated guess at the last Saturday in September. Don't quote me on any of these. I don't even know if it's booked yet, but that's what I would guess.
Another thing is you have your own podcast as well,
Yes.
which is the Reload podcast.
Yes.
So tell me a bit about that.
So that is Nigel from GTINI, my partner Connor, and me. We started it. Nigel had sort of mentioned at one point, "Oh, we should do a podcast," and we sort of said, "Yeah, we should," and then went about our life and thought not more of it. And then a couple of months later, he kind of said it again and was like, "Oh, we should do a podcast." And we're like, "Oh, yeah, we probably should." Oh well, a few more months went past. At the time, well, not long before we started doing the podcast, I didn't really listen to podcasts. I listened to one American one that Connor got me into, called Overcrest, which is two guys who are kind of into Porsches and stuff, but they're old Volkswagen heads from years ago. And I did like it, and with traveling and stuff for work the way I do, it became very handy to listen to podcasts when you're driving around. So I don't know how it eventually happened that Nigel said, "I've bought this recorder, we're going to do it." Mm-hmm. So Connor and I were like, all right. And the kind of theory was at the time, we'll do it every couple of weeks. We'll have loads of stuff to talk about because we'll be running our shows, we'll be going to other shows, so we'll talk about that, and that'll kind of be it. And the thought was at the time, Nigel and Gethin would kind of be the main people, and I would be a guest host, if you like, because I'm always traveling for work, so I mightn't always be there to record. So that was grand. But that was January 2020, and we all know what happened in 2020.
Yes, the bad times.
Bad timing on our part. So turned out I was there to record every week because nobody was going anywhere, including me. But we didn't have any shows to go to report on. That had been our grand plan. So we ended up having to come up with other things to talk about. And so we talk now about kind of automotive news, what we've been up to. Sometimes we'll have a guest, we'll do an interview. Sometimes I'll do a topic, or one of the other boys will, but I really enjoy doing them. As I said, I really enjoy history, so I'm a bit of a nerd. And I like doing the research and stuff of history topics and car related topics. And Connor's done ones about the VR6 engine and about Recaro and the history of BBS, and Nigel's done ones about John DeLorean and rallying and stuff that he's very into. So we have a good mix of interests as well, which I think helps.
Yeah, you're giving me ideas now too, because sometimes it's really difficult to kind of sit back and think, what am I going to talk about this week?
Yeah.
Would you do that? Is it every 2 weeks or is it?
Yeah, every 2 weeks we do.
Yeah, that's the same with this one. I think every week would just kind of be overkill.
Yeah, it'd be a lot. It's a lot of organising behind the scenes, and Connor does a lot of editing on ours as well. So he does all the sound and stuff afterwards, which takes him like a good few hours as well. So it would be a lot to try and do every week.
Yeah, you don't realise how long it does take you to edit things.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but have you personally ever faced kind of any backlash because of your involvement in cars?
No, thankfully, I have to say.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's honestly impressive.
Or maybe I have and I just haven't listened. I don't know, but no, I don't think so.
Maybe they know that you're a part of trying to like pick the cars for Dubshed, and they're like, I can't piss her off in case she's like, oh, he's not getting in.
I've always, not saying like tomboy or anything, but I've always had a lot of friends who are boys, and I've always hung around with men, and I have a lot of girlfriends too, but and I've worked in industries, especially working in the automotive industry, where it's a lot of men, so I just kind of get on with the crack normally, and usually people are okay with that.
Well, that's good. Like, at least you've not really faced anything. Would you, for your cars, would you tend to do most of the work yourself?
Yeah, a fair bit. Between me and Connor, I try and do as much as what I can. I'm not quite as capable as him, unfortunately, although I'm getting there. And then with being away, he tends to do a bit of work and stuff while I'm not there, which then I'm like, which I like because then progress gets made. But I also dislike because I'm like, I want to do that.
Yeah, you feel like you're missing out.
The only thing I suppose that kind of gets me sometimes is, and it has happened to me and it's happened to a couple of other girlfriends of mine, if Connor posts a pic, or if Connor's car was at a show and somebody posted a picture of the car after the show, somebody would tag him in the photo and be like, at Connor, there's your car. And when somebody takes a picture of my car, as a general rule, they'll either tag him or they tag me and him, but not just me.
It's never just you.
Whereas I don't get tagged on his car, but he usually gets tagged on mine.
Mm-hmm.
That irritates me.
Yeah.
But I guess the other kind of advantage that I have is I have a boy's name. So if people have never met me and have just talked to me online or whatever, most of them assume that I'm a man. So.
Yeah. Oh well, I mean, I'd say you probably have a lot nicer cars than half of the men out there anyway. So you've got that going in. I know for me, I haven't really faced that much backlash myself. Because the people that know you know that you do actually like cars.
Yeah.
But it's more the people on the outside. Like I feel like I have to bring it up just in case anyone is listening that saw it. On the She Drives TikTok, I put up a video of Vemans because they're bringing out a new wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And I just basically said about how much I like Veman wheels and I trust them and everything, and the amount of hate I got for that was insane.
Yeah.
Like, I had never seen anything like it before, and everyone was just commenting on what I said, and it feels awful. Like, it genuinely does feel awful, but that's more on them than me.
Oh, 100%. Fuck them. That's what I say. Just
exactly.
Oh well.
I'm just saying I like some wheels.
And the vast majority of those people, if you met them in real life, would never say that to your face. So I'm just like, come up and say it to my face, or
More than likely, I'd say the vast majority would probably compliment me on my car than say, "Oh, you and your Vemans" or something like that.
Yeah.
But so obviously I had said that I was doing a wee bit of snooping and we talked about your R32, but I also saw something I absolutely love is that you got your nails done the same colour as like the Dubshed sign. I love that so much.
So I've done it a couple of years now. The first one I did was for Dubshed 10, so it was Dubshed X. So I had the GTINI logo and I had the X. Mm-hmm. And then the year that we had the kind of teal with the red and white, I got that done. And then I think last year I had them done the same colour as the Jetta, the red with the black stripe for like the black line on the Jetta. I don't know if I'm going to do R32 blue this year because I did it already when I was going, so the day I was going to look at the car to possibly buy, got my nails painted the same colour as the car, so I think it was kind of a foregone conclusion that I was going to buy the car.
It was meant to be. Your nails had made up your mind for you.
Yeah, so I don't know what I'm going to do this year.
Would you have a favourite colour for a car?
My ideal favourite colour for a car, but I would never do it, is black.
Really?
Like a flat black, no metallic. I just think it's so, and if it's a really good paint job, obviously. I remember seeing, I can't even remember what car it was some kind of an old Audi at Dubshed back when it was still at the King's Hall, that was like flat black, but the paint just looked like you could swim in it. It was just gorgeous, and I love a black car, but I would never own one because the upkeep, and I'm just like, no thank you. You also, I think, kind of lose some of the detail in black, especially, well, not always, but like a kind of black metallic can nearly look greyish, and some of the details of the car get lost. But there are some amazing colours out there as well. Like, I love teals and blues and greens and stuff, and yeah.
I think I mean, for me, my favorite color of a car would be red.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I've had one of my cars were red, and then the Golf that I have now is red, and I never really saw myself driving a red car, and now I'm thinking
And now
I
you
love
love it.
red. I love a wee red car.
I love the red on my Jetta. I probably wouldn't have picked it. If I was going to spray the car, I wouldn't have picked that colour. But I am in the process of respraying it the same colour because I love it now. But it wouldn't have been my first choice. Um, but yeah, I like red cars too. Any particular reds that you really like?
Oh, I see. My Golf at the minute is tornado red, but I
Yeah.
think like a nice deep red on
Yeah.
the right car would look really good.
There's a really nice, I think it's Emola red, like the BMW colour. It's like,
Yeah, yes, I know exactly the one you're talking about. It really stands out.
yeah.
Is your Jetta gonna be at Dubshed? No.
If only I could show you a photo right now of what the Jetta currently looks like. It it is a bare shell.
Oh, that's so sad. That's
The
upsetting.
engine is in it. The engine's still in it. I never took the engine out, but everything else is out. The interior, the glass, everything else, and unfortunately, quite a lot of the metalwork is out of it at the minute as well, currently being repaired.
Are you just planning to repair it all and stick it back in, or do you put new interior or anything in it?
I don't know what to do with the interior. It's just the standard interior. So that Jetta was originally like a 1.3 kind of base model. So the interior is pretty basic, but it's like a kind of biscuity color, which again, like I would never have picked, but I love it in the car now. Um, and I would kind of like to keep that, or I don't know. I think it suits the car. I might at some future point put a set of kind of not quite bucket seats, but like sportier GTI type seats into it, but trim them in the same or a similar material. But um, yeah, the only thing I want to do to the interior before I put it back in is obviously it's like a 42-year-old car. Um, the back seats are immaculate. Again, I don't think they've ever really been used. But the front seats over the years, there's no tears or rips or anything in them. They're in good shape, but they've just kind of sagged a little bit. So the fabric is kind of loose on them where the padding isn't puffing them out anymore.
Yeah.
So I'd like to kind of get that addressed. But I think apart from that, I'm pretty happy with the interior. So it's bodywork and the respray. The respray is the big thing. And unfortunately, just as you strip paint off, you start to find more little problems. But it needed a respray so badly. The paint was in terrible condition on it. And again, what I was saying earlier about Dubshed selection, it looked good in photos. It was a good kind of 20-yard car. But when you got up close on it, the paint was just awful.
I've never heard of the term 20-yard car before. I'm gonna be using that from now on. That's such a good one. Love that. I guess everyone would have their own show cars.
Yeah, most of us do.
Do you have priority to get inside in Dubshed or your other shows?
No, to be honest, normally most of us put our cars outside.
Oh.
Because we want to make room for other people's cars. I did have the Jetta inside a couple of years ago. My plan was to put it outside, but I had a little mishap with the boot lid. Where, well, I say Connor had a little mishap with the boot lid where he put it up on the lift and banged it off the roof of the garage and bent the boot lid,
no.
basically like this. So luckily I had a replacement boot lid because I had bought another full shell of a Jetta for a donor car basically. So we got that, but it's gold. So Connor's dad
Nice colour.
very kindly resprayed the boot lid for me, but it was a quick job and something happened with the paint, some kind of reaction or something in the mix of the paint. I don't know what happened, but it never really dried. So the paint on the boot, even for weeks and months after it, you could push your nail into it and it was still soft. So I didn't want to put it outside because I just felt like everybody's just going to be looking at the boot lid and not the rest of the car. So I put it in, backed it into a corner behind a trade stand where you couldn't really see the back, you could only see the front.
I'd kind of be like that as well. Like, I get told my car's nice, but in your head, because you own the car, you're nitpicking at it, thinking,
Yeah.
no, but this isn't right, and this isn't right, and that isn't right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what you should do is really just take the compliment. But
I
you have to
know.
be like, oh no, wait till you see this. Come on, I'll show you how shit it actually is.
I know, instead of showing them exactly what's wrong with it, being like, oh, I know, it's such a beautiful car, isn't it? So I think before maybe we wrap things up, we'll do a quick fire round of questions. They're not difficult, they're just a this or that kind of thing.
Okay.
Okay. Manual or automatic?
Manual.
Classic cars or modern cars?
Classic.
Favorite car color? I know we kind of went into that a wee bit.
Blue. / black.
Favorite modification?
Suspension.
Okay. Build it or buy it?
Build it.
Static or bagged?
Static.
Petrol or diesel?
Oh, petrol.
Now I feel like I know what you're going to say to this next one. Only own red cars or only own black cars?
Only on black cars.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say. And a nice easy one to finish off. German or JDM?
German.
Yeah, I thought so. So before we wrap up, do you want to tell people your socials or where they can get you at, or GTINI?
So GTINI have two. They have at GTINI or at Dubshed. It's the bigger of the two. Reload Podcast is at Reload Podcast, and my personal Instagram is at Maxwell House 46.
Fantastic. Thank you so much
You're very welcome. Thank
for
you.
joining me on the episode. I cannot wait for Dubshed. I feel like it's going to be good this year. I really hope that the weather stays up as well.
Oh, fingers crossed.
Yeah, the rain was terrible today, so I'm a little scared. But it all seems to be a really, really good day out. So, yeah, thank you so much.
No, you're welcome. Thank you.
Taking the time out. And me and Kara will hopefully be back in 2 weeks' time, and we'll hopefully have a rundown of Dubshed.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about it. Thank you.
Cheers.